If you're over 50 and feel like your legs just aren't keeping up with the rest of you anymore, stick with me for the next few minutes because what I'm about to share might completely change the way your body moves, feels, and ages. Imagine waking up with stronger legs, more balance, more confidence in your steps, and the freedom to move without stiffness holding you back. And now imagine doing all of that in just 10 minutes a day, without a gym, without equipment, and without complicated routines. Sounds almost too good to be true, right? Well, it isn't. It's exactly what we're doing today. And once you try these 6 exercises, you'll see why so many people over 50 swear by short, consistent sessions like this. The legs can regain strength, balance, and mobility at any age, even after 50, through short and consistent daily movement. And the reason this matters so much is because most people assume aging automatically means losing physical ability, when in reality, the body is far more adaptable than we give it credit for. What often feels like decline is usually just the result of long periods of inactivity, habits that gradually weaken the muscles, or daily routines that don't challenge the body in meaningful ways. When you start giving your legs the right kind of attention, even in small bursts, the muscles respond surprisingly quickly. The human body is designed to recover, rebuild, and regain function when stimulated consistently. And this ability doesn't disappear simply because a number has changed on the calendar. Even after 50, the muscles in your legs are hungry for movement, and a few minutes of intentional work each day can start waking them up again. For many people, the first changes are subtle but encouraging. Maybe you notice your knees don't feel as stiff in the morning, or walking up a flight of stairs doesn't leave you catching your breath. Maybe you feel more stable when stepping off a curb or climbing into your car. These improvements aren't accidents. They're the direct result of reactivating the muscles that support your hips, knees, and ankles. The legs contain some of the largest muscles in the body, and when you begin strengthening them, everything from circulation to energy levels improves. Even short sessions send signals to the body that these muscles are needed, prompting them to grow stronger and more responsive. Many people over 50 are surprised by how quickly progress shows up once they begin moving consistently. That's because the foundation is already there. Your legs have carried you through decades of movement, and even if they feel weaker now, the muscle memory remains. When you challenge those muscles with controlled, thoughtful exercises, they start waking up from their long rest. You might think you need heavy weights or complicated gym equipment to spark that change, but your own body weight is more than enough to rebuild stability, boost strength, and restore mobility. What matters most is consistency, not intensity. Doing a simple routine every day, or even a few times a week, is far more effective than pushing too hard once in a while. Small repetition beats occasional effort every single time. Another important point is that strengthening your legs isn't just about looking more toned or feeling stronger. It directly affects your quality of life. Strong legs mean better balance, which reduces the risk of falls, something that becomes increasingly important as we age. Better mobility means you move more freely with fewer limitations, and that freedom plays a huge role in maintaining independence. Even small improvements can make everyday tasks easier. Things like standing up from a low chair, carrying groceries, taking long walks, or bending down to pick something up can all become smoother and more comfortable. When people talk about aging well, what they usually want is the ability to move without fear, hesitation, or discomfort. And that begins with the legs. There's also a powerful connection between leg strength and overall health. Because the legs contain major muscle groups, they demand more energy when working, and that increased demand stimulates metabolism, supports better blood sugar control, and improves cardiovascular health. Even a short 10-minute routine boosts circulation, which helps deliver nutrients to the joints and muscles. This can reduce stiffness, relieve aches, and make your legs feel more alive throughout the day. Many people assume they need long, exhausting workouts to achieve these benefits, but short sessions done regularly can have an even bigger impact because they're easier to maintain over time. After 50, it's common to feel discouraged by changes in your body, but it's important to understand that aging doesn't shut the door on progress. It simply requires a smarter approach.
Instead of punishing your body with high-impact exercises or pushing past pain, you shift to movements that strengthen without strain, that build stability without stress, and that activate muscles without overwhelming them. This kind of controlled, low-impact training is exactly what the legs respond to best as we get older. It protects the joints while waking up the muscles, and it allows you to build strength from the inside out. Another thing that makes short and consistent leg-focused training so effective is that it resets your relationship with movement. When you commit to just 10 minutes a day, the barrier to starting becomes incredibly small. You don't need to get dressed for the gym, you don't need equipment, and you don't need to schedule long sessions. You just stand up, start moving, and give your body what it's been craving. Over time, these short routines become part of your day the same way brushing your teeth is. The consistency becomes effortless, and the benefits compound. One of the most empowering things about this approach is how it restores confidence. When your legs grow stronger, you feel more grounded in your body. You trust your steps. You feel more capable. Movement stops being something you dread and becomes something that energizes you. And that feeling doesn't depend on age. It depends on action. The moment you start giving your legs consistent attention, even for a few minutes, they begin transforming in ways that make daily life smoother, safer, and more enjoyable.
A powerful transformation doesn't require a gym, equipment, or long workouts, just 10 intentional minutes a day. And the reason this works so well is because the body responds more to consistency and focused effort than to the length or intensity of a session. Most people believe change only happens through exhausting routines or hours spent lifting weights. But the truth is, your body adapts to whatever you do regularly, not whatever you do occasionally. When you commit to a short daily routine that targets the right muscles and uses movements designed to activate strength, stability, and control, you're giving your body a reliable signal every single day. That signal becomes stronger with repetition, and over time the muscles respond by rebuilding, getting firmer, and supporting your joints more effectively. 10 minutes may sound too simple, but when those 10 minutes are done with purpose, they're more than enough to spark meaningful change. One of the biggest advantages of short routines is that they remove the mental burden that often stops people from staying consistent. The idea of driving to a gym, setting up equipment, and going through a long workout can feel overwhelming, especially if you're over 50 and dealing with stiffness, joint pain, or simply a lack of enthusiasm for intense exercise. But 10 minutes? 10 minutes is approachable. It feels doable, even on a busy or tiring day. You don't need to change clothes, pack a bag, or rearrange your schedule. You simply decide to begin, and before you know it, you're already finished and feeling better than when you started. This simplicity is what makes short daily routines so powerful, because they remove excuses and make consistency almost automatic. Another important reason why 10-minute sessions work so well is that they're less intimidating. Many people hesitate to start a new fitness routine because they fear the discomfort of long workouts or worry about doing something too advanced. When you keep the time short and the movements simple, it becomes easier to focus on proper form, breath control, and muscle engagement instead of rushing through reps or pushing yourself to exhaustion. The quality of the movement improves, you feel more connected to your body, you start recognizing the small shifts in how your muscles wake up, how your balance improves, and how your joints feel more supported. These small shifts eventually lead to bigger results, but they begin with being able to move without fear or pressure, and short routines encourage exactly that. It's also worth remembering that the legs are large, powerful muscle groups, and they don't require heavy weights to grow stronger. Your own body weight provides plenty of resistance when used the right way. Simple movements like squats, calf raises, lunges, or controlled leg lifts activate multiple muscles at once. And because these muscles are big, even a few minutes of work boosts circulation, increases warmth, and stimulates strength development. When you target the right angles and emphasize steady control, you achieve more muscle activation in a short time than you might expect. The secret isn't equipment, it's intention. It's focusing on each repetition, keeping your core stable, keeping your knees aligned, and engaging the muscles fully. Those details are what make 10 minutes effective. Another reason short workouts are transformative is because they fit naturally into daily life.
You can do them in your bedroom, your living room, your yard, or even at work if you have a moment. You don't need anything but your body. This flexibility makes it far easier to build a habit, and once the habit forms, the results follow. The biggest barrier to transformation is inconsistency, not a lack of strength or ability. People stop because the routine feels too big to maintain. But when the routine is small, the habit solidifies, and when the habit solidifies, the body changes. It's that simple. What most people don't realize is that consistent, low-impact training actually suits the body better after 50 than long, intense sessions. Your joints respond better to shorter bursts of movement. Your muscles recover faster. Your balance improves when you train more frequently instead of occasionally. Short routines also reduce the risk of injury, which is incredibly important as you get older. You're not pushing into exhaustion or forcing movements that strain your knees or hips. You're working within your limits, improving gradually, and giving your body daily reminders of how it's supposed to move. This gentle consistency helps rebuild strength without overloading the body. There's also something deeply encouraging about being able to finish a workout without feeling drained. When you end a session feeling good, you're far more likely to come back tomorrow. That sense of accomplishment motivates you. You feel proud but not exhausted. You feel more in control of your health and more connected to the idea that aging doesn't have to mean slowing down. 10 minutes gives you the benefits without the burnout. It gives you the feeling of progress without the stress of long, demanding workouts. And that emotional win matters just as much as the physical improvement. Finally, when you add up 10 minutes a day over weeks and months, the cumulative impact is enormous. 10 minutes becomes 70 minutes a week. 70 minutes becomes hundreds of minutes a month. That's hours of targeted legwork you never would have done if you believed transformation required long gym sessions. And all of that effort adds up to stronger legs, more stability, better balance, improved energy, and a deeper sense of confidence in your body. The beauty of short, consistent movement is that it sneaks strength into your life without overwhelming you. It becomes a natural part of your day, and before you realize it, your legs feel different, your steps feel different, and your entire approach to aging begins to shift because you now see proof that transformation is possible without needing anything but your commitment and 10 simple minutes a day.
Aging doesn't automatically mean physical decline, because muscles respond and rebuild when they're challenged correctly. And this is one of the most misunderstood truths about getting older. So many people believe that once they reach their 50s or 60s, strength loss is inevitable, balance will fade, and mobility will continue shrinking year after year. But what most people don't realize is that the body isn't the one giving up. It's the lifestyle that usually changes first. We sit more, we move less, we carry heavier stress, and we stop doing the small things that once kept the body strong without us even noticing. As movement decreases, the muscles simply adapt to that new, lower demand. They grow weaker not because of age alone, but because they're not being asked to do the work they were built for. And the moment you start challenging them again, even gently, they begin responding because muscle tissue remains trainable throughout your entire life. There's a powerful truth in how the human body works. As long as you use your muscles, they stay alive, active, and capable. When you stop using them, they shrink. This process happens whether you're 20 or 80. Age might slow it down slightly, but it never erases your ability to rebuild. Studies on adults in their 70s and 80s show that with consistent strength training, even light strength training, muscle fibers actually grow in size and strength. Balance improves, coordination sharpens, and mobility returns even in people who thought their best years were behind them. That's because the body is always listening, always responding, always adapting to whatever habits you feed it. If you feed it inactivity, it becomes weaker. If you feed it movement, even small intentional movement, it grows stronger. It's also important to understand that most of the weakness people blame on age is actually the result of long-term underuse, not biological aging. For example, when joints begin to feel stiff, most people assume it's age catching up with them. But stiffness is often the result of not moving through the full range of motion consistently. The joints stiffen because the muscles around them tighten. When your legs aren't used regularly, circulation decreases, mobility decreases, and stability decreases. But when you start engaging the leg muscles again, blood flow increases, warmth increases, and the joints begin moving more freely. This is why people are often shocked when they start a simple routine and feel improvement in just a few days or weeks. They expect slow progress, but the body usually responds faster than they imagined because it's been waiting for activity to come back. Another important thing to realize is that the body doesn't know the difference between exercise done in a gym and exercises done at home. It simply responds to effort. If you're doing bodyweight movements that activate the right muscles, your quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves, you're stimulating growth the same way a gym workout would. The key is that the challenge matches your current ability. When you push too hard, you strain yourself. When you don't push at all, you weaken. But when you challenge your muscles at a level they can handle, they strengthen. This is why people over 50 often do better with intentional, controlled movements instead of high-impact or fast-paced workouts. Your muscles need stimulus, not stress. They need challenge, not chaos. And when you train this way, your body rewards you with progress that feels natural and sustainable. People often underestimate how adaptable the body is later in life because all they hear about is decline. Declining bone density, declining flexibility, declining strength. But what rarely gets mentioned is the body's ability to reverse so much of this through consistent activity. Weight-bearing exercises help maintain and even increase bone density. Mobility training restores range of motion. Strength training builds muscle. Balance exercises retrain the brain and the nervous system to work together more effectively. None of this is limited to younger people. The body doesn't have a deadline for improvement. It simply needs the opportunity to rebuild itself. One of the most powerful benefits of challenging the muscles regularly is the boost in overall confidence. When your legs feel stronger, everything feels easier. Walking, climbing stairs, bending, lifting, even standing still. You feel more secure in your movements, and that confidence spills into your daily life. Fear of falling decreases. Hesitation decreases. You begin trusting your body again. And that trust is something many people unknowingly lose as they get older. It's not the age that takes it away. It's the lack of activity that slowly chips at it until you don't even realize it's gone. But the moment you start rebuilding strength and control, that trust begins returning because your body starts proving to you again that it's capable. Another thing to understand is that the body doesn't know the difference between exercise done in a gym and exercises done at home. It simply responds to effort. If you're doing bodyweight movements that activate the right muscles, your quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves, you're stimulating growth the same way a gym workout would. The key is that the challenge matches your current ability. When you push too hard, you strain yourself. When you don't push at all, you weaken. But when you challenge your muscles at a level they can handle, they strengthen. This is why people over 50 often do better with intentional, controlled movements instead of high-impact or fast-paced workouts. Your muscles need stimulus, not stress. They need challenge, not chaos. And when you train this way, your body rewards you with progress that feels natural and sustainable. People often underestimate how adaptable the body is later in life because all they hear about is decline. Declining bone density, declining flexibility, declining strength. But what rarely gets mentioned is the body's ability to reverse so much of this through consistent activity. Weight-bearing exercises help maintain and even increase bone density. Mobility training restores range of motion. Strength training builds muscle. Balance exercises retrain the brain and the nervous system to work together more effectively. None of this is limited to younger people. The body doesn't have a deadline for improvement. It simply needs the opportunity to rebuild itself. One of the most powerful benefits of challenging the muscles regularly is the boost in overall confidence. When your legs feel stronger, everything feels easier. Walking, climbing stairs, bending, lifting, even standing still. You feel more secure in your movements, and that confidence spills into your daily life. Fear of falling decreases. Hesitation decreases. You begin trusting your body again. And that trust is something many people unknowingly lose as they get older. It's not the age that takes it away. It's the lack of activity that slowly chips at it until you don't even realize it's gone. But the moment you start rebuilding strength and control, that trust begins returning because your body starts proving to you again that it's capable. Another thing to understand is that muscle loss with age, known as sarcopenia, is not a fixed fate. It's influenced far more by lifestyle than by biology.
Yes, the process naturally accelerates with age, but regular resistance training, whether through body weight, bands, or light weights, can slow it dramatically or even reverse it. Think of it like a dimmer switch, not a light that just turns off. You can raise that brightness again whenever you begin using your muscles regularly. Even short daily routines send strong signals to your body that the muscles need to stay active. The body listens, the body adapts, the body rebuilds. The most inspiring part of all of this is how quickly people begin to feel different once they reintroduce movement. More energy, less stiffness, better control, smoother walking, and more stable steps. These improvements aren't signs of youth returning, they're signs of strength returning. They're reminders that your muscles still have the ability to grow and your body still has the capacity to improve. Aging doesn't eliminate potential. It simply requires a smarter, more intentional approach to activating it. When you challenge your muscles in a way that respects your body but still pushes it gently forward, you unlock strength you may have thought was gone forever. The routine focuses on safe, targeted exercises designed to wake up dormant muscles and improve everyday movement. And this matters so much because as we get older, certain muscles naturally become less active simply because we stop using them in the ways we once did. Daily life becomes more repetitive, we sit more, we take fewer long walks, we bend less, we climb less, and all of these small changes gradually shift the workload away from the muscles that once kept us stable, balanced, and strong. When muscles stay inactive for too long, they don't just weaken, they stop firing the way they should. They lose coordination, they lose responsiveness, and they stop supporting the joints correctly. That's when you start feeling stiffness, wobbliness, slower steps, and a lack of confidence in your legs. The whole point of targeted exercises is to bring those muscles back online by making them do the work they were meant to do. And when you do that with intention, the improvements start showing up faster than you might expect. These targeted exercises aren't random movements. They're specifically chosen because they hit the muscles that matter most for real-life strength, like the quads that help you stand up from a chair, the glutes that keep your hips stable as you walk, the hamstrings that help you bend and straighten your legs smoothly, and the calves that support every step you take. When you wake these muscles up again, everyday tasks instantly feel easier. Getting out of the car feels smoother. Going upstairs feels less tiring. Standing for long periods becomes more comfortable. You start moving with more control instead of relying on momentum or compensating with other muscles that aren't built for the job. The body becomes more balanced because each muscle is doing what it's supposed to. One of the reasons these exercises are so effective is because they're rooted in natural movement patterns. They mimic the motions you use throughout the day, which makes them far more practical than complicated gym routines. For example, a simple squat pattern mirrors the exact movement you use when sitting down and standing up. A step back or step forward motion mirrors the movement you use when climbing stairs or catching yourself when losing balance. Calf raises mimic the push-off that happens every time you walk. When you train these movements intentionally, you're not just strengthening the muscle, you're retraining the entire movement pattern, which improves coordination and stability at the same time. Safety is another reason this type of routine works so well, especially for people over 50. Instead of forcing the joints into deep angles or heavy loads, the exercises use controlled, comfortable ranges of motion that strengthen without strain. When movements are designed correctly, they protect the knees, hips, and lower back while still challenging the muscles. You feel the work, but you don't feel pain or pressure where you shouldn't. This balance between effort and safety is what keeps you consistent. You're not scared of the exercises because they're not overwhelming or painful. You know you can do them, and that makes you willing to come back again and again. Another key part of waking up dormant muscles is improving mind-muscle connection, something most people don't even realize begins to fade with age. Over time, the brain becomes less engaged with certain muscles simply because they're not being used regularly. When you focus on slow, intentional movements, you rebuild that connection. You start feeling the muscles working, you start noticing where you're strong, where you're weak, and where your body needs more support. This awareness is incredibly important because it helps prevent injury, improves balance, and makes your movements more efficient. When you feel your muscles activating properly, you move more confidently and with better control. These targeted movements also help improve posture, which plays a huge role in leg strength and overall mobility. When the glutes and hips are inactive, the lower back takes on more strain. When the calves are weak, the knees absorb too much pressure. When the quads aren't strong enough, standing up becomes harder and walking becomes less stable. Strengthening the right muscles creates a chain reaction of improvements that support your entire body. Suddenly, your core feels more engaged, your steps feel lighter, and your legs feel more aligned under you. Little aches that felt like aging start to disappear because your muscles are doing their job again instead of making your joints work overtime. Because the routine is built on simple, accessible movements, it's something you can do anywhere and stick with long term. That's a huge advantage because consistency matters far more than intensity. You don't need to push yourself to exhaustion, you don't need fancy equipment, you just need to show up and follow the steps. The more consistent you are, the more your body adapts, and the stronger those dormant muscles become. That's how real transformation happens, not through extreme workouts, but through steady activation of the muscles that support your daily life. The beauty of targeted exercises is that they meet you where you are while gently pushing you forward. No matter how stiff or weak your legs feel now, you can start slowly, follow the cues, and build strength at your own pace. Every rep signals to your body that these muscles are needed again. Every session improves circulation, coordination, and control. You begin feeling your body respond step by step. And once those key muscles wake up again and start supporting you again, everything about the way you move becomes easier, smoother, and more powerful because your legs finally remember the job they were meant to do.
Consistency, proper form, and mindful movement are the real drivers of long-term leg strength and confidence, and these three elements matter far more than speed, intensity, or the number of repetitions you do. So many people believe that to make progress, they have to push harder, sweat more, or perform exercises quickly, but the truth is that your body responds best when you move with control and intention. Consistency ensures that your muscles receive a steady signal to grow stronger. Proper form ensures that you're activating the right muscles instead of straining the wrong ones. Mindful movement deepens the connection between your brain and your body so that your legs become more stable, coordinated, and reliable in everyday life. Combined, these three principles create the kind of strength that lasts, the kind that not only improves your workouts, but also improves the way you walk, stand, bend, climb, and balance throughout your day. When people begin exercising with the goal of strengthening their legs after 50, they sometimes focus on quick results or assume they have to perform long workouts to see meaningful changes. But the reality is that your body changes through repetition and consistency, not through occasional bursts of effort. Even if you only move for 10 minutes a day, those 10 minutes done consistently will always outperform sporadic hour-long sessions. Muscles thrive on repetition. They learn from patterns. They respond to what you do repeatedly, not what you do once in a while. Consistency keeps your joints lubricated, your circulation flowing, and your muscles active. It prevents stiffness from settling in. It builds habits that become part of your routine almost effortlessly. And most importantly, it trains your legs to support you reliably every single day, instead of leaving you feeling unstable or weak when you least expect it. Proper form is equally important because when you move correctly, the exercise actually does what it's supposed to do. For example, a squat performed with proper alignment strengthens your quads, glutes, and core. But a squat done with your knees caving inward or your back collapsing puts pressure on your knees and lower back instead of your muscles. It's the same with lunges, calf raises, side leg lifts, or any movement you might include in a routine. When you follow proper form, you train the muscles you want to target, you protect your joints, you build strength evenly across your legs, and you move more efficiently in your daily life. Good form also prevents injury, which is especially important as you get older. Injuries don't happen because someone is too weak. They happen because movement patterns break down, the wrong muscles take over, or the joints get overloaded. When you move with proper alignment, everything works together the way it should. Mindful movement ties everything together because it teaches you to pay attention to what your body is doing rather than going through the motions on autopilot. When you slow down and focus on how your muscles feel, how your weight shifts, how your balance adjusts, and how your breath supports your movement, you start developing a deeper awareness of your body. That awareness makes you stronger in a way that goes beyond physical strength. You start recognizing when your knees need more support, when your hips feel tight, when your balance wobbles, or when you need to adjust your stance. Instead of ignoring these signals, you respond to them, and this makes your training safer, smarter, and more effective. Mindful movement also improves coordination, something that naturally fades with age if you don't maintain it. But once you reactivate that mind-body connection, you start moving more confidently because you trust your legs again. A lot of people underestimate how powerful, slow, controlled movement can be. They assume that moving quickly means burning more or building more, when in reality, slow movement requires more muscle engagement. When you take your time, you feel the muscles working. You feel the burn in your thighs, the lift in your glutes, the stretch in your calves. You stop using momentum and start using pure muscle strength. This is how you build stability. This is how you strengthen the muscles around your knees and hips. This is how you develop the kind of leg strength that supports you in real-world situations, like stepping off a curb, catching your balance, walking up a hill, or carrying groceries. Slow, deliberate movement trains your legs to be steady and dependable because each repetition becomes a message to your brain that these muscles need to fire properly. As the weeks go by and you maintain consistency, keep proper form, and move mindfully, you begin noticing changes not just in your legs, but in how you feel overall. Maybe you feel more stable when you walk. Maybe your knees don't ache as much when you stand up. Maybe your steps feel lighter or your balance feels more secure. These improvements may seem small at first, but they add up. They signal that your legs are regaining the strength they may have lost over years of inactivity or uneven movement patterns. The more you stay consistent, the more these changes compound. Before long, movements that once felt challenging begin to feel natural again. This approach also builds confidence, which is one of the most underrated benefits of strengthening your legs. When you trust your legs, you trust your body. You move with a sense of freedom. You feel capable instead of cautious. That confidence affects the way you walk into a room, the way you handle physical tasks, the way you carry yourself daily. It's not just about building muscle, it's about building assurance in your own ability to move, to balance, and to support yourself through the simplest and most important actions of daily life. And all of that comes from consistency, proper form, and mindful movement working together in a steady rhythm that gradually rewires your body to feel strong, stable, and alive again.